Let's. All right. Joe Adamo. We are live
Yo.
on the Blue Abroad show, mate.
Been a while.
It has. When's the last time you were here on a Monday?
Jeez. I reckon it's when we reviewed the Gold
Collingwood.
Coast game.
Oh,
No.
okay, yeah.
Did I come on for Collingwood? I can't remember. I think it's when we reviewed the Gold Coast game, and I said, "Why not? Why can't it be us?"
Oh.
And now we're here. I think that was it.
Well, we did it.
Almost.
True.
Almost.
True.
It was
okay.
So close.
From the pits to the off season to a prelim. Fair. We'll take it.
I was watching the compilation that Bailey put together, which was fantastic during the week, and I texted you and I said, I think I genuinely forgot how bad it was, and it reminded me, like, it was bad. It was like really bad at one point. I think I've just erased it from my memory. It's like in the deepest recesses of my memory, unless someone brings it up. And it wasn't easy this year, man. Like, let's make no mistake about it.
No, man. No. It was a challenge for everyone on all fronts. Well, what was more surprising? How deep of a hole we got in, or the second half of the season?
That's a really good question. I still think it's how deep of a hole we got ourselves into. Because there was no one at the start of the year that was saying, "Oh, you'd be 4-8 at the Bayern bottom four. You'd be playing like a bottom four club." Like, no one said that. The experts, none of us. There was no fan you would have spoken to that said that. Sure, like the comeback was a massive surprise considering where we were, but to get ourselves into that point initially, I think the shock of it all was like, it didn't set in until after the season for me. Like, reflecting back on it to go, oh my God, like we were looking at like a top 4 pick again. Like,
yeah,
it was just crazy. It was crazy.
It's a good point. I think because of the way it ended, that's what we thought they were capable of. But I don't think we thought they were capable of being that bad.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
So, but anyway, we're here. We got the chat with us. A few familiar names. Johnny Holden is one I want to highlight because we're going to need him soon.
Good.
We've really brought in the footy grid to the BA channel. And John Holden brings the knowledge from yesteryear. So we're going to do a footy grid later on. I found a good one that's got some Carlton relevancy to it. Are you a footy grid guy? Do you do them?
I'm a Gridley guy, but footy grid's fine.
As in, so you like the game and the trivia part of it?
Yeah, it's good fun.
All right, fantastic. We're going to talk about the trade updates, which it's not too extensive, which is good. We're going to have a few questions and I'm going to pose some discussion points, which I'm curious about. And we're also going to go through your top 5 moments, wins from the season. And we're going to get you guys in the audience to deliver us yours as well. So keep that in mind, those of you watching at home. Top 5 wins of the season. Firstly, I think Elijah Hollands is where we start. I think that's the starting point. Joe, where are you with trade period and draft period, and how invested are you in it?
Yeah, it's funny. we were talking about this on the podcast last night. We had Brownie on, and he made a good point around, usually around this time in the year, we're like gearing up. We're like, oh my God, we're linked to 10 players and who we're going to get, and Adam Chera's coming and Adam Saad's coming, and it feels a bit weird. Like, we're not really that involved, and I think it's good because me, like a lot of people, I'm sure, I've felt this like emotional fatigue set in like the last week or so from the season. Like, it really took a toll. It was crazy to do what we did week in, week out, ride that emotional roller coaster, the highest to highs, lowest to lows. Like, it was fatiguing. So we've got a little bit of footy fatigue, which has been okay with the fact that we're not really super involved in trade period. Like, haven't minded it, to be fair. But it is still a little bit weird. Like, you would think, being the Carlton Football Club over the last 10 years, would be linked to more than one name at this point, but it's really just Elijah Hollands. So I've kind of kept an eye on it, but not really.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. Season fatigue. I actually don't know if it's season fatigue or if it's just the mind adjusting to not being on the emotional roller coaster week to week and being. It's almost like for 6 months of the year you're distracted from yourself because you got shit to do and shit to talk about, and then off season comes and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
back to me again.
We've got to remember it was an extra 4 weeks for us this year because we had the extra round. So that's one extra. And then we played 3 finals. Like, we haven't had that for 20 something years.
Yeah.
Or ever, really. Like, we played 26 games. Last time we played 26 games probably would have been when we made a granny. So because of that extra round this year. So it's really like, it felt like a really, really long year. And like, I think it sort of hit a lot of us over the past few weeks. So it's been interesting to reflect on that. And I don't know, I guess let that emotion set in. But it's I think it's kind of good that we're not super involved in trade period, to be honest. Like, it sort of shows where we're at as a club, right? Like, we're settled.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Elijah Hollands looks to be the only one that of note that may happen. Really interesting comments today that you don't really hear this honesty from list managers or club personnel like what I read today. So Craig Cameron was on SEN today, and he said that he's from the Gold Coast, and he's saying, we're open to trading him, Elijah Hollands. There's a number of reasons around it. We've played Elijah out of position a little bit to play games. He's best suited around the midfield rather than the wing. We're fairly well stocked in the midfield from a first phase, but the emergence of Sam Flanders, Bailey Humphrey, Alex Davies, we think that area of the ground is really well stocked for us. Elijah didn't grasp the opportunity we gave him, even though we didn't play him in his best position. We feel like we're well stocked in that area. The other thing that we've worked really on is to get our TPP to a position that we're really comfortable with. Going forward, we're going to be really vigilant with some of the players we have contracted. If they're not meeting that level of their contract, we'll have to make some decisions. There's a whole heap of reasons, but we're well placed in the position in which he's suited. Tell me the last time you heard that sort of honesty about not playing players in position and things of that nature.
Super honest. I actually love it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think we need more of that in footy, to be fair. Yeah, I need more of that in footy. Yeah. Just say it as it is. No, there's so many, like, even when it comes to like trade talk, and you got trade radio interviewing list managers, and there's no point in it because the answer that they get every time is, oh yeah, we're interested in the player, but they're contracted, so we're not going to talk about that. It's like, well, just be honest, like, be open. It's good. Yeah. Like, it's good for footy. This is how it should be. So I liked it. I really liked the statement. I just, with Elijah, like, all right, he might be that mid high half forward player. He might not be. He's a bigger body. I'm not quite sure if he's really going to fit that mold and be that player that we need to. And if he's struggling for games at the Gold Coast in that spot, he's got a long list of players ahead of him coming in. So I'm tempering my own expectations in terms of what he's going to do for us next year. I hope I'm completely wrong and he comes in and bursts onto the scene. But I guess at worst he's better depth than what we've got.
Well, Fish is gone. Dow's, we're going to touch on Dow in a minute, but he's going to go. They're just trying to figure that out. Dow played 10 games this year. A lot of those were as the sub, granted. Elijah Hollands played 9 games this year. It's kind of like a younger version of Paddy Dow with a few more years to put some work into him, is the way I'm seeing it. It's not going to be he may be a best 22 player. He may shock me. But it's just my main concern with Dow and Fish leaving is what's the mechanism to replace those games apart from Jack Carroll and Binns?
Well, we're obviously banking on a Binns and Carroll to really develop over this off season. If they don't, then we could find ourselves in a bit of strife if the injuries start to stack up, to be fair. Now, this is obviously dependent on the fact that we don't know who else is going to come in. Like, we might bring in a really good draft pick. We might trade up into pick 8, like is being spoken about, and try and get Nate Caddy, who could seriously play round 1 off a high half forward flank. So I don't know. It's hard to judge right now until trade period and draft is done.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I'm a little bit concerned. I am a little bit concerned. You know, we've got a lot there in that 18 to 21, 22 range, like a Corey Durden and a Motlop, and they really they need to start coming on next year. And if they don't, we saw how stretched we were for depth at times in the first half of the year this year, and how dour it looked. Let's just hope we don't find ourselves in that spot again, I guess.
Do you have anything on your watch list in your mind? Like, have you seen any of the delisted players, for example, that you think, oh, he might be handy for a list?
No one delisted. Yeah, I don't think we're in a position where we need to look at too many delisted players either.
Yeah.
Hayden Crozier is one that was floated. I don't know if he's been delisted yet, but I think he'd be good off a halfback. Good ball use, mature player, been in the system, could play a role if he needed to be called on. I think that would be an astute pickup. Other than him, there hasn't been anyone delisted that I've really looked at to sort of think, yeah. Actually, John Holden in the comments there, I saw Brady McLaughlin today. I think he kicked 55 goals for the Suns reserves this year from memory. I think that would actually be not a bad shout as a third tall if we need it. I think that's a really good shout.
Yeah. I think I saw Toby McLean's name there, and I instantly thought of Ash Hansen connection, the doggies, McLean. But apart from that, nothing really catches my eye.
Would depend on McLean's health, I think, because he was a Dogs' best 22 player 2 years ago. I think everyone forgets that.
Yep.
He was looking like he was going to break out. Does his ACL, can't get back into the side, and then delisted. So where's the knee at? Where's the rest of his health at?
Yeah.
If it's there, I mean, if he's up to it, sure. Like, you could do worse for depth, high half forward, maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's Elijah Hollands and a little bit of other trade targets or delisted free agents potentially. But the other one's Paddy Dow. There's no real update other than it just hasn't gotten done yet. They're haggling over pick 56. We want more than that. St Kilda won't part with pick 56. We want more than a future fourth. It's just kind of like, I think now having Sauce on the other end, now I remember. Now I reflect back on some of the dealings that we had that didn't go through, and it's like, oh, okay, I get why that was annoying.
He's
just
putting
games.
his stamp. He's putting his stamp on that St Kilda list very quickly. I've looked at a few of those pickups, and I don't know. It brings back memories of some players we brought in that we thought were going to be absolute jets, and they didn't turn out to be. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out with St Kilda. But yes, he's a pain in the ass. He's as basic as you can put it, and we're feeling it on the other end, which is quite funny.
So that
I'm surprised he hasn't gone after more of our. I'm surprised he hasn't gone after more of our players, to be honest, because he gutted GWS and those types of players that just couldn't make it. So, and we had a few on the fringe that he could have definitely gone for.
Mm-hmm. Well, I saw a post the other day. My boy Brandon from Blues AFL, and I wanted to go through it because I wanted to take us through some of the trades that we've done with the current group and where they've come from. So check this out. This was cool. I really enjoyed this. Ooh.
I saw this one. Yeah, this is great.
Is that working? Yeah, that's working. So I'm going to need to zoom in there. Hang on. Here we go.
Yeah, that's good.
Adam Sard, pick 48, which we used in a trade for pick 31 for Corey Durden, and pick 78 for pick 8. Remember the haggling over that? And which became Zach Reed, and pick 87, which wasn't used. That's a tick for us, I would say.
Well, it's 8 for basically pick 8 for Sard and Dirt. So yeah, absolutely.
Sard and Dirt. This one is one of the biggest steals on our list right now.
Yeah.
Newman for a future fourth, which was never used.
Free.
So a free Newman. So
this was the one I didn't realize what this got us. This was a cracker.
Okay. So we traded out Tom Bell and pick 41, which was on traded anyway. Got pick 21, and somehow we used that in a trade for pick 11 with Charlie Curnow. This is where I think Sauce did a really good job. It was the shrewd trading of the picks and the futures and like the second rounds. And this is where I think it ended up working out for the best. George Hewitt for pick 40, free agency compensation. So we didn't actually pay for him. That's just what Sydney would give him back. But still, a really good move. Doherty for pick 33 back in 2013, I think it was. I think from memory, he requested a trade out.
He did.
He wanted out of Brisbane.
Yeah. I think that was
This
before
one is...
Sauce. Doc was before Sauce, though, I think.
Doc was probably before Sauce.
That was when
Someone in the chat.
I think Malthouse was still coach when Doc came across.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lockie Henderson for a future first round pick, which became pick 8 for Harry. Remarkable. So Harry and Charlie came from a trade, from a trading of picks.
Yeah. Huge.
I think this is a very underrated pick. I'm a big Pito fan, as you know.
Yeah.
Pito and 61 for 54 and 63. Essentially not much in that. This one was the one we waited a little bit. Freo didn't want to budge. They wanted that pick 6. We just gave it to him with the future third, which didn't get used, for Chera. Kennedy for pick 28, which became Sam Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one. Well,
yeah, of course.
Do you know I had a moment in bed the other night where I'm like, for the first time, I said, we did not win that trade.
No, not even close.
So
imagine Josh Kennedy in our forward line, and then teaching Charlie and Harry as they came through as he entered the twilight of his career. Like, it would have been ridiculous.
I don't know if we actually get to the hole that we get into to then go through the 15 draft the way we did. That's the only thing.
True. The butterfly effect. That is true.
Yeah. Without getting Judd, we don't have the team we have now. So
true.
We'll see. But I thought that was a really interesting post. Good stuff, Brandon. I like that a lot. So I have a question. Oh, no, we'll talk about Jordan Russell first. Jordan Russell back at the club. I'm assuming you've already touched on it, but I did not realize his background with Ash Hansen at the Doggies and at Footscray.
Yep. So what was he? Assistant to the Dogs VFL flag? Is that right?
Correct. With Ash Hansen.
Yeah. So it's great pickup. Fantastic. I just think, regardless of who it was going to be, that was a move that needed to be made. The big critique, we spoke about this last night as well, actually, but the big critique from midway through the season from a lot of people was that we didn't have the tactical nous in the box, and that Hansen was juggling too many roles with the forwards, the forward line and the senior assistant role at the same time. So next year, I'm really excited to see how this is going to go, because I don't really care who is coaching that forward line. The biggest thing out of this is that Ash Hansen gets full reign of the tactics on game day from the coach's box, and Vossi gets the sideline as the people's leader, and just revving the boys up as they come on and off.
So I've just got the backstory here. So Russell was the captain of the premiership team in 2016, and Hansen was the coach of Footscray. Hamill and Clark stay in their same roles in the back line of the midfield. Lou Powell's a VFL coach. He's supported by Tom Lonergan. Brad Ebert, by the way, shout out to Brad Ebert, a very underrated addition to the coaching group that we've got. And so that's the backstory. I completely forgot that Russell continued to play in the VFL after he retired from us, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think many people would remember, to be fair. But it's good to have him back. He's what is it? 10? I'd say that'd be at least 10 years since he's been at the footy club. So it's always good to get a former Blue back through the doors. It's it's a show of the times. It's a bit of a nod, not a nod to the past, but it's nice that it's nice to have Carlton people around Carlton. Is the main point in that. So, but I'm super excited to see how much that changes things on game day for us, because what we did struggle in the first half of the year, you could see that there wasn't many levers pulled, and that main critique was that maybe there was too much of a workload for too many in the coach's box, and hopefully this frees that up a little bit, and they can coach with a bit more freedom together as a collective, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, it kind of leads me into my next question. And I want to talk about competitive advantage. I had a really good conversation this morning with the gentleman, and we were talking about the club, and it's led me to put this on the agenda tonight. What is our competitive? So, Joe, and those of you at home, what is our competitive advantage to the rest of the league, and what can we look at for more of a competitive advantage for next year?
So, you're talking on field or just whatever, any factor?
Oh, it could be off field, it could be on field.
So, I thought about this after you posed it to me today, and is there another club in the league that has had to put up with the shit that we've had to go through right now with the same list? So, like, obviously Melbourne went through what they went through for years, right? But Nathan Jones isn't there anymore, for instance. And like Richmond, they went through what they went through for years, but none of those players are there anymore. Is there a club that has had to drag themselves through the mud with the same playing list quite recently, and not only drag themselves through the mud, but now come out the other side and have that feeling of this is great. This is what we want to be. Not look back at what we were and have that and know that feeling, whether it be fans, coaches, players, whoever, admin, looking back and knowing that feeling of how bad it can be, and having the fortune of knowing how good it can be at the same time. And I honestly think that is, it's a cliche, but a lot of success doesn't come without trials and tribulations at the end of the day. And I don't see any other club in this league that has gone through what we've had to go through so recently, but also taste that little bit of success. And I think that's massive compared to the rest of the competition. There's clubs like Melbourne who had quick success and they've lost it. There's clubs like Collingwood who had a quick dip and they came back, but they've always kind of been thereabouts. Sydney have always played finals and they know just how to get there and get there and get there. There's no club that has been through the lowest of lows and the highest of highs. And I think as hard as it is to ride the emotional roller coaster sometimes for us, that's a massive advantage for this playing group. It's huge. They know what they don't need to do, and they now know what they do need to do to get back to that spot. So that's probably where my answer sits. I don't know if that's what you're expecting out of it, but I feel like it's.
I mean, there's no right or wrong. I think every year, every club looks at what is our competitive advantage, or as in what can we double down, what can we go further with our competitive advantage, or what can we find as a competitive advantage. Every club would be having some level of conversation about it, I think. So for you, it's like well, when I think about what you said, we've had a list that's stuck together through all of those times for the most part. I mean, how many have we lost? Let's be honest. Like notable names, in the best 22. I don't think we've lost any.
No, you look at Collingwood. They lost Grundy. They lost Treloar. You look at GWS. How many players they've lost over the years? You look at Melbourne. They've lost a few in recent years. So like there isn't a more. I mean, it's our slogan, right? So this is probably where I'm getting to. But there's no other club that is more united than what we are at the moment, from top to bottom. Admin, coaches, players, fans, we've all been through the highest of highs and the lowest of lows together. There is no other club that can say that. I look around the league, there's no one.
True. Ur with the 50, thank you. He says we missed out on Schultz and Liam Henry. Hopefully we get a class half forward soon. Absolutely. Yeah. So my conversation led me down the rabbit hole, back to the Germans, back to the football in Germany, and I think Europe as a whole. And I've been digging into this research around the connection with, like, what makes Bayern Munich, for example, so far above the rest. These types of clubs, these Liverpools, these juggernauts, how do they stay at the top consistently for a decade? I'm not done with the research yet, but long story short, it is the fans. It is the connection to the fans, and I actually think it probably is an off-field thing for me, but it actually will translate on field. So off the field, we look at the digital space, we look at the industry now. Nobody has as many people creating content about their club as what Carlton do. So our voice is louder than, I would say, most supporter bases. So there's having a big supporter base and a membership base, and then there's how loud is their voice actually getting out there into the ether. And so I think anything can be a strength or a weakness. And I think, I mean, I've been saying this for years about the digitization of the fan, and I've really, that's kind of where my whole, thing is. So I think that is our competitive advantage. And I think the more we have this alignment with club and fan, the louder we become. There was a study done about the impact of having fans in the stadium when we didn't have them during COVID. What would you say the percentage of performance was affected with no fans in the stadium compared to having fans in the stadium? If you had to guess.
So as in, what was the decline in performance, essentially?
Any difference? Any difference?
I'd say there'd have to be at least, I'm just going to throw a dart here, but then I'd say 10%, 15%.
Bang on.
Yeah.
10%. So the sample size of all the COVID games, they did some research around home fans being there and how the percentage of wins compared to when they were back in the stadium. So a 10% dip in home teams winning with no fans.
Yep.
So home teams were winning 47% of the time with fans there, and then without 37% of the time. It was either, we're talking about soccer, so football. And I think there's something in that, because if you can find a 10% competitive advantage from any year to year, you blow past the rest.
I agree. And I think on that, we found that this year. Like I said, we're as united as we've ever been. Like, there were fans that walked out, and there were fans that came back. And when they came back, and when we were there, and when the team showed us and showed everyone, like, we're not here to fuck around anymore. I'm telling you, we gave them that 10%. That semi-final against Melbourne, you think back, we did not stop, and they didn't stop. If we stop, they stop. They stop, we stop. It's connected. It's that Mikel Arteta triangle, whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like, we've got to give as much as they give. They've got to give as much as what we give. And I'm with you. I honestly think that 10% was there this year. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah. And so I think if we can tap in deeper, I think there is room to tap in deeper to our fans. I mean, look, the club, players, administrators, all of them, when they're interviewed, they always reference the fans, and that's great. But I think if we continue to push on that and play on that, and really, you almost have this duty to give it your absolute all because of what your fans in the stadium are doing to even just watch you play. That, people are going to games and they can't really afford it. Let's be honest. They're buying that extra bit of merchandise when we can't even afford it. So I think there's still, I think we made inroads this year, but I really hope we continue to push that forward next year. And I think that's where, because I mean, I look at on-field, there won't be much difference. There might be a 3% increase next year. You can't, we made a prelim. We're almost there. We're right there. We're right at the pinnacle, just without getting there. We're so close. We're still some way away. So yeah, it was a really interesting conversation, and I'm going to do a bit more research around it and come back maybe with something next week. But I was curious to see what everyone sees as our competitive advantage over the competition, and I think ours is good. Definitely fan based. I mean, when I ask you who on the game day experience gets the most benefit from their fans, which clubs do you think of?
Us. Collingwood, Richmond. You probably put Port Adelaide in there. Their home ground advantage is pretty big. West Coast when they're up and about, but they're not at the moment. It's probably about it, really.
Yeah. The
Brisbane,
only other one I have in that,
Sydney.
Brisbane's the only other one.
Yeah.
No, fuck Sydney with
But
those
they're
clappers.
unique, right? Because it's a unique situation for them, though, because they don't have 10 teams in their state, and they've actually got their own home ground, whereas we don't.
True.
So it's unique with the interstaters where they actually do play in front of a genuine home crowd every time that they play in their state. But if we look at the Vic teams, I mean, you saw what happened with Collingwood this year. I hate talking about it, but their fans are rowdy. Like they're loud, man. Like there's nothing you can't take it away from them. They're as passionate as what we are, and you know their players say it takes them a long way. Our players have said the same thing about us, and I think as long as we're there supporting them and doing what we can, whether it be at the games or doing, even not doing this sort of thing, but even tuning in to content, and the club sees all this. They know how much support's out there. Whether it be on game day or during the week, they know.
Yeah. I think what we have at Carlton is we have the daily content, the daily lead up until a game. Monday, we're here on Monday, all the other shows, or Sunday, if you guys are doing a Sunday show, you got Monday, Tuesday, JP, Wednesday, Besties. I mean, I'm just talking about Blue Abroad alone. So we've got like a Thursday show, and that's not even to mention the other podcasts and content creators that are out there. So we're continuously in this cycle of something to talk about until game day. And we really, as the fans, have sort of taken that on board, and we manufacture that up until, week to week. So I don't think any other club has that in the league. St Kilda, maybe. Saints TV are really good at what they do. So this is where I think we can continue. And then I think also go to round 13 and then go to the prelim. Round 13, a minority of people are spitting. End of the prelim, the boys have lost and they're getting clapped off by most people who stayed. I don't even remember the last time I clapped off Carlton playing after a loss.
It's quite it's quite symbolic, eh? Like that's full circle. Mm-hmm. That is proper full circle for the same result, essentially, in the grand scheme of it, but two completely different fan bases. Like I've said it so many times. If you show anyone that didn't watch a minute of footy this year, if you show them round 13 against Essendon, memberships flying off the rails, the way the team played, like people burning scarves and all of the lot, and then showed them immediately the prelim or the Melbourne game or whatever it be, they would tell you that can't be from the same season. Impossible. It can't be. That they've got to be 2 different years, 2 different completely teams and completely different times, let alone 3 months apart. So, yeah, it was a massive transformation, and it sort of brings me back to my point around there's no team that has gone through that. There isn't a team that has gone through what we went through this year, not currently. So it's going to hold us in really, really good stead. It really will.
Where do you sit on things that can be added to game day experience? Like the club obviously tried to, we've tried to add the pre-game sound, but do you like, what's your take on mid-game? Brisbane have the songs after every goal, which, like it or not, it helps them. Collingwood have the slow chant. Do you think there's room for, we added the woof. It really was added this year with Sardi. Do you think there's scope for more mid-game sound? Like if there's a down patch, something we could be doing, and if so, what?
I just think it can't be forced. So I actually like the seven. I like the Queen Seven Nation Army. I think if they stick with that, more and more will get on board. I think we just got to stick with that for like a year or two. The Port Adelaide never tear us apart. That didn't take off straight away. Like that took time. So you stick with that. More and more will get on board. More and more will understand on game day how to get involved and whatnot. That's just going to take time. I do like that. I don't think it's about what we need to add. I think it's more so about, and I don't want to be too critical, but I think it's more so about what we need to maybe strip back a little bit.
Okay.
If there is one thing to bring back the hovercraft, man. That's Carlton. That's Carlton. That's like 90s Carlton. Everyone knows the hovercraft. Like we haven't had a hovercraft for years. Like every week consistently at home games. Bring it back. Absolutely bring it back. That's
Interesting.
us. You know, if you want to bring something into it, lean on your history a little bit. But I'm more so in the camp of stripping it back just a little bit. Carlton dancers.
Fair. No,
But
no,
not
fair
naming
enough.
anything in particular.
Mate, the Carlton dancers were at the BNF. They started the proceedings with a little.
Listen,
Not a fan.
I'm sure they're all lovely people. I'm sure they are amazing at what they do. It's just not for us. It's not for our club. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's yeah. Okay, interesting. We'll revisit it. If anybody has any ideas that they want to share, some of you already do send through an email, but if you would like to send through any ideas for game day or whatever, any ideas you have in your mind, just send an email, blueabroadmedia@gmail.com. I love these conversations. So that's that. Now we're going to move on to a top 5 segment. Joe, audience, what were your top 5 wins for the year? Now, there is no right or wrong answer. It's because everyone's got an individual experience with certain games. There might have been a relative coming. I don't know. What were your top 5 wins for the year?
Wins, right? So we're talking just straight wins.
Wins, moments. Yeah. So, like, the whole season, everything, including finals.
All right. So I'm going to mix it up a bit because I've got a couple of like moments that I think need to be called out. That's all.
Okay.
I think number 5 for me, which it was in the midst of our like resurgence, right? So not that it gets forgotten, but it was probably downplayed a little bit because of the opponent and whatnot. But none of us had ever, this generation, we've never seen anyone kick 10 in a Carlton jumper. And going to Marvel that day against West Coast, there was this feeling that we were going to see it. Like everyone was like, Charlie's going to kick 10. It's going to happen. And it came to like the dying moments. It was one of the better goals that he kicked for the year, to be fair. And the roar from the stadium when he kicked 10 and the standing ovation, like that's something that it has to be top 5 this year. Like we had a Carlton player that kicked 10 in a game. I don't care about the opponent. That's huge. So for me, that's number 5.
That argument, by the way, sorry to interrupt, that irks me because it's like, all right, then who's your forward kicking 10 goals if it's so easy? Anyway, sorry.
Exactly right. No, exactly right. I agree. They're an AFL side. They may not be AFL standard, but they're an AFL side. Like it is what it is. He's still going to do it. He's still going to get out there and do it. Exactly right. He's still going to get out there and do it. So Charlie kicking 10 is number 5 for me. And the rest of wins. And it's pretty easy. It's Melbourne in the home and away season, which essentially locked in finals. Like the Gold Coast win was great, but that night at the G with the Matildas, like that whole vibe in the G that night was just like electric. The Matildas penalty shootout and the Blues and just crazy. That'd be number 4. Number 3 for me was actually the elimination final against Sydney. Fantastic. Like it was, and I think in reviewing that game without knowing what was to come, that was like it just doesn't get any better than this, but we know that it did. But that night was incredible. Like Blake, first 2 goals of the game, first 2 minutes, place is going ballistic. Blake Acres running into an open goal square, place going ballistic, like crazy scenes. Number 2, though, for me is actually the Collingwood win, because I don't think we get to where we get to without that. And that's why it was so big. That night, it didn't have wasn't as electric as a final in hindsight, right? It was a great home and away win against the arch rival, but it wasn't as electric. It wasn't as tense because we sort of put them away in the third and we kind of knew that we were going to get it done. But if we don't win that game, we don't go on to play finals. And I don't think we go on to go as deep in finals as what we did because it was Collingwood, and that was such a mental hurdle. Like it just really was. And if I can take I can take myself back to that night at the G against the Pies, and that final siren going was just relief, and you could feel the relief across the stadium. It was like, oh my God, we've done it. Like that's the one that we had to win. That was the one, and then. What's number 1? Like, I was fucking bawling my eyes out in my dad's arms. as a 29-year-old. Honestly, I still say if it never ever gets better than that, than the semi-final against Melbourne, but if we never see a flag, which I hope we do, I pray to God that we do, that if we never ever see a flag, that is something that we can all take forever. Like the way that game played out, the last minute, that last play, it was just so dramatic that it was, you can't write it. You can't write shit like that. You just can't. It was crazy. It was crazy. I still get goosebumps every time I talk about it. Like it was nuts. It was nuts.
I like it. I like it. Bugs Bell, we will get to your comment / question later on in the Q&A because I think it's, listen, you want to bring it up? We can bring it up. Debbie O'Connor, number 1, Port Adelaide. Number 2, the Melbourne semi. Number 3, the Swans. Oh, the Saints, the second time, and Charlie's every goal. I like it. Yeah, that Saints win was a good one. I really wanted to win that one. I can't stomach losing to them twice in a year. That's kind of where I was sitting with that.
Yeah.
Chris Beach, Melbourne semi, Collingwood, Gold Coast away, Charlie kicking 10, and Port Adelaide. Yes, I like that. Johnny Holden, Suns second quarter, Port at Marvel, Collingwood's win, the St Kilda win, Melbourne, Hand of God game.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Hand of God. They're pretty similar, these ones. Pretty similar. I'm waiting for someone to mention. No one's
Have you got a
mentioned it
5?
yet.
We going through
I do
your
have a
Tez's
5.
5?
Yeah, I can go through mine. So mine 5, round 2 against Geelong. Now, I know we look back now and Geelong didn't make the 8, but at the time it was Geelong. I still remember it. And then I think because I was looking at the highlights a few weeks ago and I posted a few clips on Instagram and I watched the game highlights again. And that was a rocking night because Jeremy Cameron was up and about, and they still hung out. They were there they were still in the game in the fourth. They kicked the first 2 goals of the fourth from memory. And so I really, really enjoyed that one. And then the rest come later in the season. So Port Adelaide at Marvel, that was me when I believed that something really special was going to happen because I did not buy into the narrative of Porter missing their players. And then, I have to say Collingwood third, but I want to put them second. Collingwood third, Sydney elimination, Melbourne prelim. But if we were doing Melbourne semi, if we were doing moments, I think quarter time of the prelim is the best moment of the year for me.
Oh, mate. Sitting in the stands at the Gabba after I think Charlie kicked the fourth, I wasn't even, I couldn't move. I was stunned. And I was fighting back emotions that wanted to burst out of me because I was like, no, there's another 3 quarters. We're not there yet. But mate, that half an hour was insane. Like we all, I saw this. I do remember that. It was a big win at the time. It was huge.
Mate, it was a great win.
They were rating Premier. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But no, that quarter time at the Brisbane game, I just remember looking around and we were all just like, are we gonna do this? Like, are we gonna play in a granny next week? Unfortunately, it didn't turn out as we thought, but for like a good 5 or 10 minutes, it was there, man. It was there. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy to think how close we came. That's just nuts. That's nuts.
I think because we had you and I are byproducts of the generation of Carlton fans who have been told what it is as opposed to experience it, right? So I think when, John Holden mentioned it just now in the comments, when people from the generation who have seen multiple flags were saying that the Melbourne win was better than the 99 prelim, that's when I knew, oh, okay, like something really special has happened because there was a unification for the first time of all of us. Now there's no more, what you saw and what I saw, even though like there's the flags missing, of course. But, we've now gone to a prelim together, generations together, So.
And traveled. Traveled to a prelim. And we're all on like the same flights together. And we were all marching towards Brisbane with this unified feeling that like we can do this. Like this, we are so close. And you're right. It just brought generations together. That Melbourne semi brought 3 or 4 generations of Carlton supporters together for the first time. That's how big this year was for us. And I don't care.
Yeah.
Like we've copped our fair whack over the last few weeks for celebrating semi-final wins or round 20 wins or whatever it is. But if you're not a Carlton supporter, you don't understand. Like you just don't get it. You don't get it.
You just don't get it.
Vossi said something about it at BNF night, right? Around like our biggest success this year, or something like our biggest success this year was, and I'm paraphrasing, was basically realizing our identity and finding who we were again.
Yeah, it was. This year's not about what we achieved; it's about who we became.
Yes, that's the one, and that's huge.
And that's
like outside of a flag, that's
massive.
massive for a club that was nowhere.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah, it took me a while to really link with the concept of not defining success and failure based off X amount of wins in a year. It probably took me until this year to really click. You know, last year, remember Harry Mackay goes on the couch late in the season, and people are up in arms because he said it wouldn't be a failure if we didn't make finals, etc. So I think I learnt you know, you got to remove yourself from the outcome and get stuck into the process of actually nailing that, because the process actually gives you the outcome. You're going to be in a vortex if you only focus on the outcome.
For sure. And I've got a question on that, actually. And it was something we spoke about last night. How do you think that's going to affect, look at it from your standpoint, I guess, but how do you think that will affect the week to week next year for us?
I believe we are going to be tested next year. I believe there's a lot more trust with the fans and club now. I don't believe there's enough. And, you know, I still speak to people that think we're going to fuck it up because that's just all we're used to. I think once there's proper trust again next year, it'll be even stronger. I'm just focusing almost 100% on the fan club connection. I think the more trust we have, the more engaged we become, and the more engaged we are, the more powerful we are.
Yeah, I just hope that now that we've seen how quickly it can turn, both ways, right? That not so much about trust that it will turn, but that we're not jumping at shadows like we have for 10 years.
Yep.
Which is hard, right? And it was hard to do this year. Like how many times did we pre-show have to be like, boys, tonight we just can't. We've got to try and stay away from the negativity. Like it's going to be really easy to get sucked in, but let's try and be positive. Let's just try and, we've lost 6 straight, but we've got to try and be positive. And sure, the emotion still came out at times, but I feel like now being able to reflect, I feel like the week to week isn't going to be as emotional. Like we're not going to be so tied up in a round 4 fucking loss against Adelaide. Like it'll just be like, okay, cool. Like let's move on. Let's make sure we win next week. If we don't, then let's make sure we win. And it's not over till it's over. But I feel like it should give all of us. I'm not saying how people should feel either, but I feel like it will give all of us that bit of reprieve from getting sucked in to jumping at shadows and jumping really quickly.
Yeah, we definitely are a club and a fan base that have panicked every year early in the season that the season's dead. And I think that's kind of what happened. And listen, fair enough. Like, I mean, you lose 8 of 9. Most teams don't recover from that, if they get themselves into that sort of hole. So I actually think we're going to be tested even more so next year. I don't know if it's going to be 8 of 9 losses, but I think there will be even greater tests for us. I don't think you can ever really eliminate the fluctuation of positive, negative, because that to an extent is us. We are you know, clapping after a prelim win or spitting after an Essendon loss. Like, we're human beings that care so much about a fantasy game with made up rules and a made up league with, you know, everything's just made up on the fly. It's not reality, which has also taken me a long time to realize. And we care so much about it. That's what makes us us. So I don't think you can ever really eliminate that, but I think we are going to be better equipped to deal with losses next year, because at least this time around, we've been able to see them do the thing to get out of a hole.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Mm.
Agree.
So that's that. What was the other one? What questions do you have at this point for the club? Those of you at home, what's on your mind? Get to ask a question, and not who are we getting in the trade period, or, you know, what color socks is so and so wearing. Like, actual, you know, meaningful, substantiated questions.
It's a good one. If you had asked last year, it would have been easy. But it's like,
the fuck happened?
Kind of answered, huh?
What happened? That's what I would have asked last year.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's easy to ask that in the past, but like, they answered so many questions this year, and like, we asked questions of them throughout the year. Like, what's the point? You know, and they answered it brilliantly, like perfectly, almost. Yeah, I think for me, it's just more so around, like, we're seeing what's happening now, short to midterm. Like, we can see the list for the next 3 to 5 years. Like, this is the time. Harry, Charlie, Cripper, Weeders. If we had a crystal ball, I'd probably ask, well, what does 10 years look like? So what happens after this group leaves? Like, what have we got in place? Because I don't want to get to a point where we're panicking once these players start retiring and we're jumping at the hottest free agent to try and fix things and pay them $1 million a year, and they end up being a flop and they don't get us anywhere. I think for me right now, that would be the only question I've got is, we know the 5-year plan. What does it look like after that? And what are we doing to safeguard long-term sustainability? Because I don't want this to be a 5-year thing. We should be aiming to be Sydney. We should be aiming to be Geelong, not Richmond, who are about to bottom out. And people keep receipts on me these days. I'm sure what I just said may come back to haunt me if Richmond make top 4, but looking at it, they look like they're about to bottom out because they didn't safeguard themselves after the dynasty. So what does it look like once we lose Charlie, once we lose Harry, once we lose Cripps, once Walsh is 34? Like, what does this all look like in 10 years? And what are we doing to make sure that we don't fall into that hole? That's probably the question that I've got.
I like that. Some good ones here. Bugs Bell. Do they deserve our trust? Yeah, as in, like, why do they? Yeah, fair. We'll get to Sydney in a minute, round 1. No doubt about that.
Yes, saw that today.
Yeah.
Absolute rubbish. But anyway.
I think there was... Beyond next year, now that we hit the 100,000 members, can we move to the MCG full-time moving forward? Is there a reality where... I don't think there is a reality where you can play every game, home game at the end. Like, no team can do that, right?
Not every game. I think Collingwood and Richmond have to play Marvel twice or something.
Oh,
they
wow.
have to. It's part of the contract. But I think our contract with Marvel ends this year, I believe. Next year. So next year will be, if I've got that right, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've read that next year is the last year of our current Marvel deal. So I think we can then renegotiate, which is fantastic.
Good time to hit form. Well, we need to hit better form. Yeah.
Well,
so
there's no way. Like, even if we're not informed, there's no way you can give a club that has 100,000 members as of next year Marvel as a home ground. Like, impossible.
Correct.
You just can't do it. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Paul, serious question. Where's the t-shirt from? The t-shirt is from Mitchell and Ness. They've got a brand new vintage range that's come out. They sent me Joe, I got some free product, mate. They sent me. 6 years,
go.
mate. A free t-shirt. 6 years.
Hey, you gotta grind. Gotta grind.
So from Mitchell and Ness is the answer, Paul. I wore the jumper on Saturday morning, and yeah, this is the t-shirt, but they've got some navy blue versions as well. So that's that. Peter V, board accountability. How do we keep them accountable if something goes wrong? Luke says PWC, for instance. Well, I think the mechanism for keeping them accountable is actually what we do. Like I think I said it earlier, like our voices are heard now. Go back 5 years, 2018. Compare that to now. I think our voices are heard. If we want to bring something to the club, we can. It's a lot easier to do it now than I feel anyway, than what it ever has been. So I actually think having these discussions is the mechanism for accountability, because issue comes up, we discuss it, we generate some sort of feeling about it. If it's serious enough, the club will know about it and we get some sort of message back. So I don't know. That's Peter. Do you feel like we have board accountability? So
I suppose he says. No, I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, doing what and I'm not just talking about us, but obviously with the channel and other podcasts that are around, and being a little bit more involved with the club this year, we know they listen, and not just to us, but they listen. They see the chats, they see the comments, they
have to.
They listen and they read and they see everything, so they know they can get a very, very quick pulse check on where we're at. And if accountability needs to be held, we do that here weekly. I can say for a fact that all of us hold this club accountable, whether you like it or not, and whether it's a little bit brash at times, but they see it, they hear it. So I feel pretty confident in that. I feel like they can get a very, very quick pulse check these days on where we're at.
Yes, no doubt. Debbie, why didn't the club recognise Paddy Dow's birthday today? It's a good question. I didn't know it was Paddy Dow's birthday. Deb, did you know it was Did you recognise Paddy Dow's birthday? I think it's probably just inappropriate given that he's about to leave, personally, but I don't know. I don't know why.
I agree.
I have no idea why.
I agree with that.
Ben, would you do a meet and greet event? Yes, we've done them. We are going to have an end of season event of sorts. There's conversations in the background, more to come soon. So that's that. We'll open up if there's any other questions we can just touch on. That is what we've got for tonight, but we're going to do a footy grid.
Let's do it.
Had a look at today's Gridley. It wasn't appealing enough to me personally.
Okay.
I also like to do them with Carlton. I love this.
What's the record that you've had on this?
The record, stand by. The record is as follows. Okay. The record, Gridley, 18. Footy grid, 15.31. We did it on Saturday morning.
Okay. I feel like you had a better footy grid than that one night. I feel like you had a 4.
Nah. Maybe.
Yeah, there was a show that you and Pom did on footy grid, and you had 0.5 everywhere.
I didn't write it down, so I can't claim it.
Okay. All right, so 15. Let's beat 15.
Yes. All right. I think we will try and avoid the Carlton questions till the end so we can end on a high.
Yep.
Played in the 2010s, Essendon. I'm actually going to jump in here because I know one. Alex Brown.
Okay.
He was the youngest of the those that were suspended. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's my contribution for the night. Okay. So, Joe and audience, somebody that played in 2010s and played at least one game for the Gold Coast Suns. So we're talking inaugural Suns, random as.
So you've got your Riscatellis, you've got You've also got there was a Nichols. There's a
The
ruckman.
ruckman.
Nichols was a ruckman. I just don't know how popular that one's going to be. Tape.
Ooh.
Peter Lewis. Tape.
Is that
I've
Seb
never
Tape?
heard that name ever. I've never heard that name.
Seb. I think it's Seb Tape. Let me just check if it exists. Yeah.
Oh, this could be huge. This could be unicorn levels.
Do I go with it?
Is that
Good.
Peter? Is that is for the Suns, right?
I'm sure. I remember the name. I remember the name.
Thomas Bichelli said Seb Tape as well.
Harley Bennell, Jacob Gilby, also a good one.
Yeah, I like Tape.
I think I'm going to go with Tape. Come on.
Let's see.
Very good.
Oh, all right. That's
Very good. Very good. Somebody from Essendon who's played one game and has had 3 or more bounces in a game.
Courtney
I feel
Johns.
like we want to go back. Yeah, we want to go like back. Courtney Johns, did you say?
Yeah, or Courtney Dempsey. Sorry, not Courtney Johns. Courtney Dempsey. Is it Dempsey? I think it was Dempsey. He was like a halfback for the Dons.
Jason Winderlick. That's a really good one.
That's a good one. Surely like a
Brent Stanton.
Peveril. Like a Damien Peveril.
Damien Peveril.
Surely he took 3 bounces in a game.
I like that.
Surely.
I'm not going to do it yet, but Damien P. Okay. Elwyn Davey, yeah, he would have definitely. Okay, let's just pencil in Peveril.
Okay. It's either Peveril or Dempsey for me. I know Courtney Dempsey definitely, he would have 100% had a game with 3 bounces.
With 3 bounces?
Yeah.
Yep. I think
Peveril's so tempting because that's like borderline.
Tim Watson, Long. Who's Long? Oh,
Michael Long, yeah, Michael Long.
Kyle Reimers.
3 bounces though.
He was like a half forwardish guy, wasn't he? Okay, this is why John
Calthorpe.
This is why John Holden's in the chat.
That's a name I've never ever heard. And if you're confident, John, I'll go with you.
Hey, John does this with his eyes closed, mate. Oh wait, Cal.
C-A-L.
David Calthorpe. Is this him? All right, John. I think I'm going to do it. Oh no!
Oh.
Wait, can we start again?
Oh. Yeah, let's start again. Can we reset?
I think so. I thought we were on a good one. Oh wait. Oh.
Hey, this is actually pretty good anyway. I don't mind this.
It's the new one. All right, scrap it. We're going again. The
strike against John. Big strike.
That would be the first time John's ever been wrong.
He reckons he's 100% done it. I reckon John's going to contest. Go contest.
John would be the first person to contest and be right in this. There's no doubt.
I'll back him.
I actually think this is a good one.
Yeah, this is good.
Let's go. A Saints player, someone who played at least 1 game for St Kilda and 1 game for Carlton.
Okay. So Hamill is the obvious one.
Oh, yeah. Hey, John, I believe you, brother. Trust me.
Hamill's the obvious one. I'm just trying to think. We don't really do too much with the Saints. Oh, Lappin, that's a good one. Kane Ackland, that's a really good one.
Ackland. Dean Rice, Blake Acres, Jack Noon.
Peter Brown. Davenport. Peter Brown and Davenport. Their names I don't know. Ken Sheldon. Here we go.
Ken Sheldon.
This is where we need to chat. Okay.
Yeah. Warren Jones, Ricky Nixon. I think Warren Jones is a good one.
Yeah, I didn't know he played for the Saints, to be fair.
Yeah, well, I didn't either.
Jezza.
Warren Jones. Jezza?
Jezza. How many people would say Jezzalinko for this square?
True. But I feel like for those that use Google, I don't know. I mean, if you use Google, you use Google. But
True.
Peter Brown,
Corcamelis.
79.
Who the hell is Corcamelis?
That would be Phil Corcamelis. I think that is his name. Phil K. No. Spirit Phil. Oh, he's Spiros. Corcamelis. I feel like it's either him or Warren Jones. I think I'm going to go Warren Jones. I think that's the one.
Yeah, make the call. I reckon you're right.
Wow Jones, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, bang. Bang,
wow.
Bang, bang. That's how you start.
Okay. That is how you start. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Wow. Let's do a St. Kilda player that played in the 2010s. Like a randomest, like a Brett Peake. You know?
I got a few here. Like a Jason Graham. Brett Peake's a good one.
Brett Peake? I won't rush, Maz.
Yeah.
I promise you. I got a bit excited after that unicorn. I like to jump it.
Brett Peake's a good one.
Because he left, didn't he?
Yeah, he went to Freo. Am I
Jason
right in that?
Graham, Brett. Yes.
James Gwilt. I remember James Gwilt.
That's a very good one.
Yeah.
Gardner, Adam Schneider. Did he play for St Kilda?
Yeah, he did.
From Sydney, or then he went to Sydney?
No, I think he went to the Saints.
Right. Trent Dennis-Lane got traded to the Saints.
He did, but did he play a game though?
Did he play a game for the Saints? That's the question.
James Gwilt's a good one. I like that.
I think I like Gwilt as well. So they need to have played in the 2010s. Jared Allen, isn't that the? No, who's the one that went to the NFL? Sipos?
Aaron Sipos. Yeah.
Did he play?
He did play. No, SIP, I think.
Aaron Sipos. Okay.
He did play.
Jamie Cripps? What?
Yeah, he played for the Saints. Jamie Cripps.
That is a really good call.
Oh. Anthony Vincenzo's convinced Dennis Lane played.
That's got unicorn vibes about it as well.
Well, if it works. What about like an Ahmed Saad? Do you remember Ahmed Saad?
I do. Didn't he get suspended for the?
He did.
Oh, Peter V. Sam Dunnell, 2012, played one game. I mean,
all right. Well, if we're gonna go for unicorns, let's do it. Oh, thank. How good is this? How good is this?
All right, pressure on.
That is so good.
Okay. Somebody that played for St Kilda and has had 30 disposals in a game. Can we say Jack Noons has had a 30 disposal game?
He did, didn't he? For us, once. I feel like I remember it. But did he have to have 30 disposals for the Saints or just a 30 disposal game in his career?
So a 30 disposal game in their career, who also played at least one game for the Saints. All right, Peter, let's just try and stay away from Google.
Oh, that's how we got it.
Oh, it resets at 8 p.m. So we've got a lot of unicorn chances. Okay.
Okay.
Understood.
That makes sense.
I think Noons has had a 30 disposal game in his career.
Do you reckon?
I'm sure of it.
I feel like he had one for us.
Yeah. Against St Kilda is where I'm feeling like it happened. Farron Ray?
Farron Ray, I think, would have definitely had a 30 disposal game for the Saints.
Ugh. It's Jack Noons, mate. Has to be.
Yeah, let's go Nunes.
Should I do it? That's not Google. That ain't Google. That's real. All right.
Huge. That's
Let's
huge.
lock in. Now let's lock in. All right. Okay. Let's go a top 10 national draft pick that played for Carlton. Well, we got a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm going to try and think way back, though.
I've got one left of center. What about
Go.
Jared Pickett? He was a top 10 draft pick.
He was.
He played a game for us. Not many would know him. Plowman.
Plowman's one. Pickett's one. Marchbank, I'm pretty sure went at pick 5 or something.
Yes, great call.
Setterfield.
True. Samo.
No. I was sure there'll be a few that say Samo. Setterfield could be a good one.
Yeah.
I don't reckon a lot of people would remember that Setters went at like pick 4, pick 5.
Luke Livingston.
Oh, that's massive. Yes.
Is it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Liam Sumner, Jordan Russell.
Sumner was, I think, a top 10 pick. Clem Smith went not top 10.
Reece Palmer.
I don't know if Palmer was top 10. Chris Massey, top 8. He played for the Crows.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Whoa.
Someone had a good one here. I just missed it. Oh, Johnny Holden. Murray Vance in 98. This is the type. This is. Do we back him in?
I'll give him another crack. He can't be wrong twice in one.
What's that?
He can't be wrong twice in one. Is it top 10, John?
John, can we just get you to confirm Murray Vance, top 10 draft pick, and played a game for Carlton?
And confidence level. We need a confidence level from you. Vance was top 9.
Ooh.
So we're on the border.
Yeah. I mean, 3 unicorns on the board. We don't want to,
Blaine Boakhurst was pick 12 from memory.
Yes. Yeah. And Lucas
and Kane
was as well.
Lucas was like pick 13 or something, I think.
What was Menzel? Troy.
Oh.
All right. We're going to go with Vance.
John's so confident on Murray.
So confident.
Let's go. Menzel was pick 9, they reckon, and I reckon they're about right. Barnaby French
Murray
pick
Vance.
8.
John says, I put my reputation on it. Oh, done. John, I got you. Bang.
Bang.
Right. Very good. Very good.
Love it. Love it.
All right. Let's go a top 10 draft pick that played in the 2010s. Well, that's where I think we might go. Oh, yeah?
Beto.
Yes. That's where I think we can go like Jared Pickett's or maybe some guys that were drafted and only played a couple of games. I don't know.
Yep.
Morabito is a good
John
one.
Patton's a good one. I like John
Patton. How's Murray Vance 1.85? I'm a little bit offended at that.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe there were a few that knew him. That's I thought we had another unicorn there.
Yeah.
Um,
Top 10 national draft pick. Nathan Freeman.
yes. Do you play a game?
Nathan Freeman. Yeah, he definitely played a game for either Collingwood or St Kilda. I know this because I saw the clip of him on Instagram the other day, and he was like showing footage of him like doing a hammering on the field.
He was definitely top 10 too.
Definitely. All right. Jack Watts. No, he was 08.
Oh,
No. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Top 10 draft
yeah.
pick and played in the
Can
2010s.
you check Scott Gumbleton's active years? I just don't know if he played in the 2010s. He was a pick 3.
Yeah,
he was a spud.
Yeah. He must have played. Whether it was for Freo or Essendon, he must have played.
Surely played a game. If he was on a list till 2013, didn't play a game from 2010 to 2013, I'll be shocked.
You know what, Joe? Or I think I might back you in. Is this your best?
That's all I got.
Let's go. That's solid.
All right. 2%?
We can work with that.
Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
wow. All right. Give me a top
All right.
10 national draft pick that had 30 disposals in one game. Phew.
Did Lockie O'Brien ever have 30 disposals in a game? No.
I don't think so. And
No
that kind
way.
of says all. Sorry, that was okay.
Shit.
I'm crying.
All right. 30 disposals. That's really funny.
All right, let's just calm down. No, I'm laughing because last week you said he was shocked to be delisted. How, mate? Anyway, all right, let's just move on.
Brock McLean's a good one. I like that. He definitely had 30.
Yes. Was he a top 10 draft pick?
Yeah, he went at like pick 5 or something.
Mm-hmm. Samo is a good one. He probably did it once.
Against the Bulldogs.
It's Samo.
It is Samo.
Am I just going for it? It's absolutely.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be an answer, but we'll see how popular this one was.
Yeah.
Good. Love it.
Very good. All right. Now we can go into Carlton players. So we need somebody who was a Paddy Dow teammate who played at least one game with Paddy Dow and played a game for Carlton. So we're going to go back to 20.
Paddy Dow.
So one game at least with Paddy Dow in the same team.
Okay. Jared Pickett. Is this where we put Pickett?
This could be Pickett. This is like Paulson, Cam O'Shea, Mullet, Wiley.
Cam O'Shea. Paddy's first year was 2018. So
like the 2-win season. Cam O'Shea played it for sure. Yeah,
see, I don't know if Pickett played that year. He played. Remember we beat the Hawks at Marvel?
That was 2017. Late.
Yeah, okay.
Year.
So that was the year prior. And I think Pickett did his knee.
Yes.
In that preseason for 2018. So Pickett's not this one. Definitely not.
Yep.
Pat Kerr's a good one.
Pat Kerr is a good one. Josh DeLuca.
Yes, he would have played with him. I like DeLuca.
Paulson. Let me just see.
Let's see these active years here. So DeLuca would have
fits the timeline perfectly.
100% would have played with him. Check Nick Holman. That's a good one. I just don't know if Holman was off our list.
He was with us 14, I don't think he would have played in 18 with Paddy Dow.
No, I don't think so. Hugh Goddard. Yes, that's a good one too.
That's a great one. Okay.
Oh.
Hugh Goddard, Kieran Byrne, Blaine Boakhurst. Who was the other one that we said just now? Gibbons, solid. Josh DeLuca.
Josh DeLuca or Hugh
Callum
Goddard.
Moore, that's also a good one.
What about Angus? Do you remember Angus Shoemaker? He played a game.
Angus Showen, mate. Yeah, I do remember that.
What year did he play? I'm sure he played a game.
Angus Shoe.
SC,
There he is.
yeah.
2019.
Ooh,
Did he
yeah.
play a game for us?
Yeah. I remember he played a game for us. I remember being there. And I'm
This should be
sure Paddy
huge.
Dow would have been in the side. I'm sure of it. In 2019, Paddy Dow, I don't think he missed a game.
Okay. Oh, Anthony Vincenzo. Shoemaker was 2019 versus West Coast. That's when Newman kicked 4, Sam Walsh kicked the goal, Sam Walsh and Amy Lights the commentary.
It's just whether or not Paddy Dow played that day. And I would be staggered if Paddy Dow didn't play that day in 2019.
This will be.
I don't remember him ever being injured. I don't remember him being dropped early on. Like
Angus Shoemaker. Yeah, Newman kicked 4 this game, Lockie Jack. I'll never forget it. Played on. We're up by like 4 goals. West Coast came back. Just, late in the season.
Yeah, we were on like a little bit of a win streak at that point. And it looked like we were gonna. This was after we sacked Bolton, and we had that like really strong back half of the year. Paddy Dow played that day, 100%. He played that day.
All right, I'm gonna back you in. No.
How did he not play that day? How did Paddy Dow not play that day? Nah, this is bullshit. I'm gonna have a look. I've got to have a look at this. I'm not copping that. Angus Shoemaker.
You can't undo
AFL tables. That's rubbish.
Yeah, you know what? Let's check this out.
That is rubbish.
3 unicorns.
Okay, Paddy Dow didn't play that day.
Fuck. I think Callum Moore is the best one. Let's just go with that. Oh my god.
Oh, this is falling to shit. Absolutely. How is it that we get to the Carlton line and we fail? I can't believe Paddy Dow didn't play that day.
We should know. Teague wasn't playing Paddy Dow. True.
Oh, that is criminal. That is. Paddy Dow, 2019. He missed. Oh my god, he missed like 2 games, and that was one of them. Oh my god, that is rubbish. That's just rubbish.
That is such a buzzkill. We were doing so good.
I bet you this would be wrong.
Could have just stuck with the Lukes, mate. Oh no.
Oh, that sucks. That sucks. That really sucks. But we did our best. We got 3 unicorns.
When are you going to get 3 unicorns in one game?
Yeah, that could have been an all-timer, that one. Oh well.
We could play again, but like I'm kind of no.
Oh, that sucks. Dow was omitted that game. He was literally omitted that game. Oh my god. This is
the best fun when we do it live. It's just the best.
Yeah, it's good fun. It is really
anyway.
Fun.
That was fun, but
I was prepared to put everything on the line for Angus Shoemaker.
It made a lot of sense.
A lock. I thought that was a lock.
Anyway. It ticked a lot of boxes. It ticked a lot of boxes.
It did.
So, all right. Well, that was the BA show.
That's it.
Any parting thoughts, Joe?
No. Give your mum a hug.
True. Give your mum a hug.
Always. That's it.
Yes. Yes. Oh, true. Be grateful that our biggest issue right now is the referendum as opposed to our family members and friends being blown up, is what I would say.
Well, the world is at full tilt right now. Full tilt. Like it is just chaotic. It's crazy to look around at what's going on. It is crazy.
Yep.
Crazy.
And Cam O'Shea,
O'Shea was
a
a unicorn. Oh my god. Well, we didn't need that news, did we?
No.
Oh god. But yes,
All
give your mum a hug and
Yeah.
hug your family members. Tell them you love them. That's it. Enjoy your
Absolutely.
week.
See you soon, guys. Go Blues.
Take care.